Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the session. You want to come little right side? Or if it is better, you just stay there. Is it better? Okay. Yeah. So since last weekend, we started discussing the benefits or scientific benefits of chanting the holy name. Chanting the holy name. You all know now what is the holy name? Yeah, the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is a 16 syllable. And how many words, distinct syllables are there in that? 3. What are they? Hare, Krishna,
Krishna,
and Rama. Yeah,
Ram,
3 syllables. And what is the meaning of Hare?
Shakti or
Energy
power.
of the Supreme Lord, the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. Okay. Krishna is the name of Krishna. And Rama is, what is the meaning of Rama?
Ra- Radha Ramana.
Radharamana. Yeah. Lord Krishna relishes the blissful energy of energy of Radharani. Yeah, yeah. So the first question is really why even we should chant the holy name. That was the first thing. Right? Anything we do, we want to know why I do this. Right? Without reasoning, if we start something, we may stop because we want really proper understanding and conviction of anything we do. The reason we chant the holy name is because this is the medicine for the ace. Just like there is a specific prescription for a particular health issue. If you have fever, you have to take only fever medicine. You cannot take headache medicine. So similarly, when we have when we are in Kali Yuga, specifically there is medicine for Kali Yuga, which is primarily the chanting or repeating Hari's name, specifically Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right? So we discussed 2 slokas in that. One is the mantra that is there. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kelavalam. Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gadiranyata. In the age of Kali, Kalau Nasteva. In the age of Kali, there is no other method except the holy name of Lord Hari. It is mentioned where? In Brihad Naradiya Puran. So why we should refer to Vedas? Because Vedas are authority to wisdom. And just like if you want to know what is right, you need to know the law of the land. That is how you know whether you are behaving correctly, right? So there are laws everywhere. For example, traffic has laws, everything has laws. So similarly, for humankind, the scriptures are the laws, the laws given by God. So we go back to scripture, and scriptures say Harer Nama is the medicine for Kali Yuga. And the other one was the Kalisantran Upanishad, wherein the discussion between Lord Brahma and Narada happens. Narada asks, Kali Yuga is very negative time. What is the remedy for the people of this age? So there the specific mention of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra comes. So that is mentioned here. You can see Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Sodashakam Namnam Kali Kalmasha Nashanam. Natah Parataropya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate means looking at all the Vedic wisdom. Right? Nato Parataropaya. Upaya means a plan. Right? There is no other plan other than the chanting of these 16 names. So that is mentioned in the, across all the Vedic scriptures. So in this way, we can understand for this age, in both these verses, you can see specifically for Kali Yuga, this is the medicine, or this is the mantra that is for deliverance, right, to achieve the highest perfection. After Dwapar Yuga, Mhm. Oh, so Krishna name is known before also, because the yugas are cyclic. So there was another Chatur Yuga cycle before this. So Krishna name is known before. Even though Lord Krishna was an incarnation towards the end of Dwapar Yuga. Yeah, but still Krishna is referred in the scriptures. Yeah, very famous after Dwapar Yuga, after he incarnated. Mostly Vishnu, Narayana. These are the, if you look at like Bhagavad Puran, most of it is refers to Narayana, but there is also mention of Krishna. Like, in the beginning itself, it's mentioned, even though these are all incarnations, Krishna is the supreme incarnation. It's mentioned. Yeah. Krishna, yeah, Narayana is one expansion of Krishna. We discussed this before as well in device. Narayana is like, so Krishna, and then from Krishna there is Vaibhav Vilash and Prabhav Vilash. From there, there is, four incarnations. From one of that is, Narayana, and then Shankarshan, like that. So I will discuss that. We can show the chart. So and then again, next level, there is again 4-level incarnation. I mean, it is the same tattva. The tattva wise, it is all the same. Yeah. But who we call, it is Krishna who has exhibited all the Sampurna avatar, who has shown all the capabilities of potencies of a Lord. Even though it's like they're all one and the same, but they show potencies at a varying degree. Just like if you light a lamp, okay, and there are 10 other lamps, you lamp with the original lamp. All of them look like the same, but there is one original lamp and one is the source of the other lights, right? They can all show the same potency, but they exhibit variantly. The one that shows the full potency is considered the original incarnation. It's just nominal, nomenclature, you can say. It's all the same, the supreme absolute truth, right? But when Krishna came, all the scriptures agree that he is the Sampurna Bhagavan. And everyone else is considered as in a partial incarnation, like Rama or Narsingha, right? Like that, okay? Yeah, to your specific question, Krishna, because the Chatur Yugas repeat, like there are cycles, right? Within a day of Brahma, there are 1,000 cycles. So in every cycle, not necessarily Krishna comes. Once in a day of Brahma, Krishna comes once. So that happened only recently. Uh, mhm. Oh yeah. So for every, okay, that is the question. So for every age, there is a specific incarnation, and people worship that. For example, Rama is worshipped in Treta Yuga. Rama is the incarnation, right? So they are called. There is a term for that. The Yuga avatars. There are several types of avatars. One is Guna avatar. Guna avatar is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. There is Leela avatar. This is called Leela avatars. There is Guna avatar, Leela avatar, Manvantar avatars. In this way, there are Shakta Avesh avatars. There are several types of incarnations. Specifically, the one who comes and performs various leelas. To why he comes and performs leelas, to actually attract the conditioned souls, to attract to his pastimes, just like we look at advertisements and get attracted to them. So similarly, when we witness the pastimes or read about the pastimes, we get attracted to the personality of God. So they come. So for each age, there is one incarnation again. Right? For Kali Yuga specifically, it is there is Kalki avatar who will come towards the end. But that incarnation's purpose is to transform Kali Yuga into Satyuga, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered Yuga Avatar. Yuga Avatar means one who initiates the specific method of liberation for the age. So for this age, Sankirtan is considered the process of for liberation. Sankirtan is basically chanting the holy name. So for this age, Lord Chaitanya, who came about 550 years ago, he is considered the Yuga Avatar. Yeah. So how do you know an avatar? I think we discussed this again. They're already mentioned in the scripture. Bhagavatam already talks about Lord Chaitanya's incarnation. Even Vishnu Sahasranam talks about it. Suvarna Varna Hemango, Hemanga Chandanangadi. So Lord will come in the golden form. Suvarna Varna Hemanga Chandanangadi. So like that. So even Bhagavatam has shlokas like that. Krishna Varnam, Visha Krishnam, Sango Pangasya Pashchadam, Yagnai Sankirtanai Prayer, Yajantehi Sumedasaha. That is the verse. Right? Krishna Varnam, he is in the category of Krishna, but not exactly Krishna. Because Krishna is black in color. So this incarnation is golden in color. Krishna Varnam, Visha Krishnam, not Krishna, not exactly like Krishna. Krishna Varnam, but category of Krishna. Sango Pangas, he comes with his eternal associates. And what does he do? Yagnai Sankirtanai Praya. He will start the process of Sankirtana Yajna. Sankirtana Yajna means chanting the holy names of the Lord. So he will begin that. And who will take to that process is also given. Yajantehi Sumedasaha. Those who are intelligent, who understand the importance of Sankirtana, they will take to this process and achieve the highest perfection. So that's also mentioned. So in this way, everything we do has a scriptural backing. We don't want to do anything, just because convenient or it's our favorite, it's our God, we are Hindus. No idea like that. So that's when Srila Prabhupada came and introduced this. All over the world, now you see the temples are there in 130 countries. This is one way to unite the whole world, because everybody is a soul. Everybody is suffering in the material world, right? So Bhagavad Gita is universal wisdom. Anyway, we distracted a bit. Yeah. Thank you for asking that. Yeah. So why we chant? Because this is the specific method to achieve perfection in Kali Yuga. It's as simple as that. Second thing, Mahamantra meaning we already discussed last week. We first understood the dharma of the soul. The dharma of the soul is indistinguishable property of a thing. Sugar's property is what? Sweetness. Without sweetness, can you call it thing as sugar? No. Similarly, for fire, what is the quality? Light and heat. Without that, so what is the core property of soul proper? The soul, huh? Yes, service. Service is the quality. You can serve your office boss or your parents or anything, but service, you will become happy when you serve. When you don't serve, you may enjoy for some time, but that's not lasting happiness. But when you serve, you become happy. And through service, if you want to achieve happiness, who do you want to serve? Who would be the best object of service? Logically speaking, huh? The highest one. If you serve the highest one, you become the highest happy, right? Suppose you serve Prime Minister, it's better than serving your office boss, right? Go to the gradational level. Where do you end? The Supreme Absolute. If you serve the Supreme, logically you should be the happiest. So this mantra is an invocation to the Lord, to absolute truth, asking to engage yourself in the service of His. You see? So Mahamantra is actually a point of connection. It's like a mobile connectivity, just connecting to the Supreme Absolute, to engage in His service. Yeah. So that is the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then What does it do when you chant? Mantra, this mantra, mantraite iti mantra. Mantra literally means it controls mind. It grips your mind. Right? What is there in your mind, first of all? Mind is a repository of thoughts, correct? And based on what happened in the past, right? You see gulab jamun, you know what it is. Immediately, your saliva starts because you know what that object is. Past experience. These are called vasanas. Vasanas are past impressions in the mind. So all these impressions are reposited in the mind, and they will, immediately as soon as the object is there, the related, sensory or the perception will come over, right? So mind is a repository of, especially there are few enemies in your mind, which we don't recognize as our enemies. They are lust, anger. Yeah, anger. When you become angry, will you be happy? No. When you become lusty, you think you are happy, but you are not happy actually. You are burning. Greed makes you burn. Yeah. Anger. So everyone has the experience of anger, right? If not others. We all know when parents are angry, we are unhappy. When they're also unhappy. So these are all things which we don't want. So these are the envy. Envy is another, burning pain in our, pride. Pride also makes us suffer. So these are all negative things in our mind. What happens when you chant mantra? Mantra is like sunlight. When there is sunlight, all the dirt on the road, what happens to that? Just dries up, right? So similarly, when mantra repeats in your mind, so that's why the most important thing when you chant is to hear, listen to each word attentively. We don't do anything else, just listen. So when you do that, it has the potency to wipe like a detergent all the negative aspects in our mind, right? So that's why it's called great deliverer of mind. Maha mantra, that's why it's called Maha mantra, the king of all mantras. Yeah, it has the highest potency. Yeah. So how do we, chant? We should chant like a child. When a child cries, will the mother stay outside? No. Whatever she is doing, she will stop and come and attend. So similarly, when we chant like that, our original Father, the Supreme Lord, will attend to us. So we should have that childlike, attitude when we chant the holy names. Yeah. So it's also Mahamantra is like a spiritual mobile. Right? It connects us to the Lord. For example, we have heard about how Draupadi, when she was, in that Kurusabha, she remembered Lord and she surrendered to him. And immediately Lord, who was there in Dwaraka, almost like 24-hour journey, but immediately attended to her. So when we chant helplessly, Lord's mercy will be received upon us. I'll just quickly glance, right? Yeah. So how do we know Lord Krishna? We have seen the example of Draupadi. So Lord hears us. Yeah. And also Gajendra Moksha. Gajendra in the body of an animal also was able to invoke the audience of the Lord. So here are some practical benefits of, now we'll start with this one. So it is an antidote for Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, we all know, everything is haphazard. Right? A lot of people, the most common thing that everybody experiences is anxiety every day, right? To catch the bus, to go to office, to make sure professor is happy. So there is always anxiety at office or at home. So at least personally for me, the first thing that came out of chanting for me is relief from anxiety. Yeah, because there is your father, you're supporting you, right? So that is how you feel. And chanting, whether you know the potency or not, we are learning about it now, but whether you know it or not, just like when you take a tablet, it just works within the body. So similarly, when you chant the holy name, it will have its effect. Yeah. So that is the antidote for Kali Yuga. This is specifically for Kali Yuga, so this is the right thing. So there is the picture here. You see the picture here. You know what is that? Anybody recollects? Ajamil, yeah. So Ajamil, you heard about it, Ajamila? Yeah. Ajamila was a very sinful person. He lived all his life lavishly and, wasted his life, never remembered Lord. But in his past life or early age, until like 15, 16 years, he was a Brahmana performing Vedic rituals, etc. So he named one of his son as Narayana, even though he was, he lived a sinful life. At the end of his life, he was about to die, uh, and Yamadutas come to pick his soul. At the time, he was very much afraid. He sees them actually. Not everybody gets to see them, but he sees them, and he feels very fearful, and he chants his the most attachment. What is it? Narayana, his son. So he's the youngest son, so he would call his name, and immediately, because he chanted the name of Lord Narayana, the Vishnudutas also come and rescue him from the Yamadutas. So there is a big debate between Yamadutas and Vishnudutas. Hey, this guy lived all his life sinfully. We are the one who are eligible to take. But Vishnudutas say, holy name is so powerful. With one chanting, he already got rid of all the sins. So we are the one to take. So anyway, finally, both won't take actually at the time. So he'll be given a second chance. So he'll become very careful because he has a direct experience now. So he will go to an ashram, and he will, further all his life he would chant the holy names and perfect his life. So that shows the potency of the holy name. We shouldn't take Azamula as an example. Okay, I know holy name works. Maybe I'll try to remember at the last stages of my life, because we never know when death will come. So that is that. Yeah, it cleanses the heart. You see this boy here, who is this boy? Yeah, Dhruv Maharaj. So Dhruv Maharaj, I'll just briefly tell the story. Dhruv Maharaj was the son of Uttanapada, a great king. So this is a story from Bhagavatam. All these are, pastimes given in Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is a description of various great devotees and their, actual life stories from previous ages, right? So Dhruv Maharaj was a 5-year-old boy. Once, I'll not go in depth. I'll just briefly outline. So, Uttanpad, the king, the father of Dhruva, had 2 wives, Suruchi and Sunidhi. And the king has more affection for Suruchi, the second wife, and Sunidhi, the other wife, would not receive much love. And Dhruva happened to be the son of Sunidhi, the unloved wife of the king. And one time, Dhruva was sitting in the lap of the father, Uttanapad. At the time, Suruchi comes there, and she sees and she feels envious of Dhruva sitting in the lap. And she would say, Dhruva, you're not qualified to sit in the lap. It is only my son, Uttama, who is supposed to sit in the lap of his father. For you to be able to sit, you have to take birth in my womb. That's how she would say. And this boy was very much affected by this very powerful negative words of his mother, of his stepmother. And he would, because he's also a Kshatriya boy, right? So very boiling blood. Though he is a 5-year-old, he will go to his mother immediately crying loudly. And I have this insult, I have to take revenge. 5-year-old boy. He said, no, 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 don't take revenge. Whatever is happening is our destiny. It is a fact that your father loves my sister, my co-wife. So Don't feel bad. And anyway, this kingdom is with the king, but the ultimate king of the whole world, is the whole creation, is Lord. If you want anything, he would say, no, I want the kingdom. He'll say like that. And mother says, you want anything, only one person can give, the Supreme Lord. And then he says, where can I find him? He will be in the forest. So I'm going right now. He will leave, 5-year-old boy. He will leave everything and he'll go. And he goes to the forest, and there, he's in search of Lord actually. There he meets Narada Muni, because Narada, whenever a student is ready spiritually, Lord arranges the teacher also. That's how spiritual life works. Just like you're all sincere now, there is a teacher arranged immediately. So that's how it happens. So when this boy meets Narada, and Narada discourages him, you're a 5-year-old, go back home, play with the toys. This is not the time to search for God, just to test whether he is really serious. And the boy says, please, sir, please tell me, if you want to help me, please help me, but don't come in my way. I'm set off for a higher goal. I want to find the absolute truth. Then Narada realizes he's serious. Then he gives him a mantra to meditate. What is that mantra? Yeah, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The mantra I chanted in the beginning. So that is the mantra for that is. There is that mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's addressing the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva. The Supreme Lord is Krishna. Vasudeva is also Krishna. So he gives that mantra, and Dhruva would immediately start meditation on it. Within 6 months, he would achieve a very high level of spiritual growth. And in fact, he achieves the audience of, he would, follow a strict regimen. He would advance his regimen very quickly. In the beginning, he would stop eating food, not food, basically fruits, whatever he gets in the forest. He would eat once in a while, and then he would depend only on leaves for a few days, and then after that he would only depend on breath, and then after that he would stop breath also. Then the whole world suffocates, because he has achieved such a high level of consciousness. The three worlds become suffocating. They're all suffocating, and immediately all the demigods reach this Vishnu, the Garbhodaksa Vishnu, the one within the current universe. Is called Garbhodaksa Vishnu. And Garbhodaksa Vishnu directly attends to the Dhruva where he is meditating. And Dhruva immediately comes out of meditation, and he was meditating on the form of the Lord within the heart. And the same form would come, and he would see the same form in front of him. Immediately he falls at his lotus feet and prays to the Lord. Then Lord asks, "Oh Dhruva, I know what you want. What do you want?" Then he would cry, because he was looking for. He has two problems. He was desiring two things which are negative in his heart. What are the two things? Anybody can say? Yeah. Not just a kingdom. He wants a kingdom bigger than Lord Brahma. Means he didn't go after his father. He's like wanted something better than the universal, the best planet within the universe, which is Brahmaloka. Something better than Brahma. That's one thing. The second problem is want to take revenge on his stepmother. Both two negative things. But as soon as he sees the Lord, Lord actually touches his head. All the dirty things in his mind will go away. All these two things also will go away. So immediately he feels very sorry for the bad desires in which he started the whole process. Even though the process has cleansed him, but he feels very morose for starting with such a negative desire. So he says, I don't want anything. I just want your audience like this, your audience in my heart. That's all I care. But Lord says, you anyway desired, I want to give you. So he gives him a planet called Dhruvaloka, which is a Vaikunta within the universe. There is one Vaikunta within this universe. It's called Dhruvaloka. So that is the star that everybody sees after marriage, right? Dhruva star. A Vaikunta within the material world, material existence. So that is the reason, because after marriage you want to aim Dhruvaloka, not anything else within the material world. So it's a central point for the whole universe actually. Chandelier, it's like a chandelier, right? On which the whole universe is hooked right now. So he gets that, and his mother also gets liberated. Anyway, the whole point is he achieves the highest perfection and cleansing of the heart through the process of chanting the mantra. Of course, it's a different mantra for that is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Yeah, it controls the senses. So what are the senses that we have through which we Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas, two types of senses. Jnanendriyas are the ones to help acquire knowledge within this world. What are the Jnanendriyas? Eyes, nose, tongue, skin, ear. Yeah? So with this we acquire knowledge in this world. And out of all of this, the most tough one to control is mind. Is a coordinating sense. Of course, mind is very difficult. But after that, tongue, yes. Yeah, tongue is the most difficult. So here there is a story of a hunter who became Valmiki. Right? What was his name before? There was a name for it. Huh? Ratnakar, correct, yeah. It's given there, yeah. Ratnakar was a hunter, and he would actually not only hunt, he would also enjoy hunting. Means he would like half-killed animals. That's how he is. But when he meets Narada Muni, he would hear about, he would take to the path of chanting Mara, 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 right? Because he is not even qualified to chant the holy name Rama directly. So that is the idea behind even chanting Hare Krishna. In the Vedic scriptures, the mantra that is given for highly qualified Brahmanas is Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But if you chant repeatedly, what happens? You can also chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So without, discrediting the qualification to chant the holy name in the beginning with Rama, we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It's the same. Yeah. So by chanting Mara, 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 Ratnakar becomes Valmiki, and he even writes the history of Lord Rama, Valmiki Maharshi. He becomes Valmiki Maharshi. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it also bestows a transcendental wisdom. Whatever you are studying in Bhagavad Gita, we study, later on we'll understand the philosophy. You're all hearing philosophy also mixed with, the stories. All this wisdom gets digested only when we chant the holy name, because just like you all require both theory and practice, right? Without practice, why do we have laboratories, right? Even when you write papers, you need to show with, experiments and proofs. Without that paper, nobody accepts my idea of what I want to, what I'm thinking, right? Everything requires, experimentation to prove. So similarly, the chanting of the holy name makes us thoroughly digest the knowledge, transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. It makes us realize the knowledge. This is the best of the points. Best form of repentance or atonement. Holy name is also an atonement. What is an atonement? So when we perform actions within this world, some could be good actions, some could be bad actions. So bad actions will have negative consequences that we may face in the future. We don't know what is the sanchit karma of us. Sanchit means baggage of karma that we're all due to experience within this world. We may have something very negative that will come in the near term. We don't know. Or in the next life. So holy name is one thing that can wipe out all the sanchit karma, the baggage of karma that we have for many, many millions of lifetimes. It's only the holy name chanting that can wipe out the deposit of millions of lifetimes of negative results of past reactions, right? Yeah. So there is, like, if you perform, pious activities like charity or, any of such activities, helping others, they accumulate good karma. What is the result of good karma? In the future, you will receive good results. Like, for example, you donate 1,000 rupees today. In your future, you will get it multiplied 1,000 times, possible. That is how karma works. Whatever good things will you get multiplied good results in the future. Everything has its, positive and negative effect. But what about bad things? We don't want bad results also, right? Like that. But they also come for everybody. So the good thing about holy name is it wipes out both good and bad. because both are bad in one way. Why? Even to enjoy good, you have to take birth, right? We heard the story of Dhritarashtra, 100 sons. You remember? Dhritarashtra, you remember? Yeah. So we don't even want good karma or bad karma to carry with us. So chanting of the holy name will wipe out everything. Yeah. It is like, you see the here, all the reactions are like various, animal cries. But when the lion roars in a forest, what happens to all the animals? They'll all run away. So similarly, when we hear the holy name within our mind, all the sinful reactions will run away. That is how it is mentioned. It's mentioned in Garuda Purana. So everything we state here is not just, our own understanding. It has backing of scripture, right? It increases the faith in God, right? It emboldens our faith. If you repeatedly, that's why we should not just hear the classes. We have to chant. That will keep our faith strong. And every time you chant, understand you are increasing your spiritual bank account. You should feel happy. Just like, for example, a a materialistic person becomes happy as soon as his bank balance increases, right? Oh, I have $50,000. I have 30,000. Anytime it increases, he will feel happy. He got a bonus, he'll feel happy. Oh, my account is increasing. But the problem is it's going to be there for only one lifetime, right? But when you chant every time, understand you are increasing your eternal life account. There is nothing better than that. Okay. So that's the most important activity we do in our day. That's how you should consider. Okay. So it's don't know. That's why we should not approach it mechanically. It's like one more activity, like eating. It's very different activity. We should really get the full benefit of it, right, by chanting. And if you chant effectively, if you chant here and here very carefully, your progress will be fast. But if you chant inattentively, the progress will be slow. Yeah. How do you realize you're making progress? Yes, very good. Uh, just like when you are very, very hungry, for example, you didn't eat morning breakfast and was lunch served. What happens with each morsel of food you eat? You feel satisfied, your hunger will reduce. Does anybody need to tell you? You will naturally feel yourself. So similarly, by chanting, you will see yourself. How one quick test is how your attraction for material things will go down, right? For example, today you may have a goal of achieving some big thing in material, right? You don't, you may still have the desire, but you don't really bet on your happiness on that. Things like that. I want to become famous like that, or many people have so many varieties of desires. We can't even think of how. So those become secondary for you. Though your happiness doesn't depend on it. It comes good. You don't deny it, but you have a higher happiness that is not dependent on anything material. That's how you grow. Uh, you may get good job, bad job, doesn't matter. None of the material things matter as much as it is right now. That's the biggest transformation, right? In the toughest times also, you will stay sober, right? You won't feel disturbed. You never go through depression for sure. If you chant every day, that's out of question for you. Yeah. Because you have the highest rich father. Suppose your father is Bill Gates, will you ever be worried about money at all? It's similar thing. The thing is, there is realization that your father is Bill Gates. That needs to happen. That when it happens, you feel that assurance in life. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So here is a beautiful verse. Nama sankirtana yasha sarva papa pranashanam pranamo dukkha samanas tam namami harim param. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of whose holy names destroys all sinful reactions, and the offering of obeisances unto whom relieves all material suffering. The first thing that happens is material suffering will go away from your life. That is the whole goal of life is to increase happiness, reduce miseries. For anything we do, that is the background logic, right? And by chanting, that becomes a secondary side result. You don't need to even go after it. It's the main thing is you develop attachment to the Lord. That is the main thing. As a side benefit, you get relief from all the material sufferings that everybody goes through. It doesn't mean you don't get any more miseries in life. It doesn't mean that, because whatever we are due as part of our karmic cycle, we get through that. But you have a cushion. For example, you all drove two-wheelers, right? In India, we all drove, right? And sometimes bumps come. And if you don't have a cushion, what happens? You get hurt badly, right? That cushion is there now. That is Krishna. So you go through all the, sufferings, ups and downs of life, but you have bigger cushion than most others. We see big people suiciding, even billionaires suiciding in today's day and age, right? But luckily, we all have that connection with the Lord that will save us. You will all realize that very soon as you start practicing, right? Yeah. So that is the additional. Krishna consciousness gives you additional tools. Draupadi, did she go through suffering? She went through. Pandavas, there, Krishna is right there, but they went through. They had to go to forest. Krishna is right there. He's also watching. They went to forest. But their story became so famous because they went through that. If they, Krishna, hey, Lord, you are there. Why should I go through all this? Just finish off all, Kauravas. He would have done that. But let the karma, let it happen. And through that, Lord teaches. Through their story, Lord teaches, the dependence on Lord, how it differs, how it changes lives for people. So that is how most of our lives are. We don't see Lord's help, right away for us. But we can, we have been given the tools to get that help. Yeah. So now we discuss the most important aspect, how to chant Hare Krishna with concentration, right? So there are three terms: dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Dharana is when you focus on an object. Dharana means to actually grip something, right? So for 12 seconds, if you are able to grip something, it's called dharana. If you do it 12 times 12 seconds, which is 144 seconds, if you do, it's only like 2.5 minutes, right? Not more than that. That is called dhyana. Samadhi is again 12 times of that, like around, comes to about 2 hours or something like that. Yeah, 25 minutes, sorry. Yeah. So our goal is to focus our mind when we chant. On what? What should we focus on when we chant? Hmm? Hearing, only hearing, nothing else. We don't try to remember the form of Krishna also. That should come as a natural result of focusing on hearing, right? The most important thing is to hear, and for years it will continue to be, you will continue to feel distraction for sure. But Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, no? Arjuna asks, it is very difficult to control mind, right? Krishna says, I know it is difficult. Wherever mind goes, try to bring it back, right? Can still see, right? It's better without light. Yeah. Yeah. Try to, if possible, try to sit in a room where, you don't get distracted by many things, and try to focus on hearing the holy name. Sit in a secluded place and chant. And the most important, the best time to chant is morning times. Yeah. If you chant before 9, it is ideal. But, practically it may not be possible. So if you chant more rounds, especially, you can divide some rounds to afternoon, some to evening, if required. Yeah. And we have to be patient when we chant. You may not see the result immediately. It depends on, everybody is different. It's just like, it depends on what you have done in the past life. If your spiritual account is starting this life, then you have to accumulate a while to really experience spiritual bliss. But there are people who have done, say, 60% or 80%. For them, just like that, there is a small boy called Bhagavad Das. Have you all seen that video? He's everywhere now. He's like 4-year, 5-year-old boy. And somebody says hello. He says, huh? What did he say? Huh? Yeah. He is speaking like philosophy to like 4-5-year-old boy. You can imagine how uh, he's advanced. You can see that, he has done already like maybe 70-80% or even more in the past life. You can see clearly, right? But still, we are somewhere. We don't know. We may have done something or may not, but we are on track. We should continue, right? Don't need to be feel disappointed. Oh, looks like I haven't done anything. Yeah, it's okay. Wherever we start, we should continue from there. The good thing is we already reconnected to the right path. Myself, I tried several paths before coming here. And once I came here, it was very clear. Because everything is with evidence. Everything is, according to what is the experience of, many saints in the past, right? Mirabai, everybody chanted holy name and perfected life. Even, Dhruva Maharaj, Puranic pastimes are there. Tukaram is there. So many, recent pastimes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have evidence. Look at anybody else. You won't find them focusing on holy name. That's very clear that this is the one path that is really going to be most effective. Yeah. And what should be the object of concentration? Like you said, we should focus on hearing the holy name. Yeah. Sometimes when we read books, our favorite book, we feel so much absorbed. Somebody knocks the door, we won't even hear, correct? So similarly, when we chant the holy name with full absorption, we'll get to that state. But you won't get there right now. You may not feel. So don't feel bad for that. Even I am also not there, by the way. So after almost 15 plus years, it takes time. We have to be patient. Yeah. But when we achieve, scriptures already talk about a level of consciousness, we are not there yet. But when our name is not Suddhanam, but when we achieve Suddhanam, there is a experience of bhava, and then next level is prema, right? So right now we are in a very, very early stages. But when we get to bhava stage, your heart is filled with joy all the time. That's called blissful state of consciousness. And we are not there, but the path is there, right? Yeah. So the only solution is just repeatedly chanting the holy name. That's what brings us there. In fact, our 95% of progress is based on chanting the holy name. Yeah. In fact, 99%. But to chant the holy name, we need to still hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, so that our faith continues. Faith and the process, practice should go in hand, because you need inspiration to continue to chant, right? Yeah. So the chanting changes our samskaras. What are the samskaras? Like we discussed, the impressions. We all have certain impressions in our mind, right? Certain desires. Anytime we, go back to that atmosphere, for example, you have, as a student of +2, you may have certain movie songs that you are attached to. As soon as you, hear that, you go back to that times, correct? And you live those days. So like that, we have certain attachments, samskaras, negative, which are not really, conducive to spiritual life. As you chant, your positive samskaras will develop in the mind, right? And you take and you hear these classes, some of these points will cling to your mind over time, right? In 6 months or 1 year down the line. So these points become digested for you and they become your second nature. So then your samskaras really transform from those previous negative samskaras. Sometimes you see a person, you feel negative energy, right? That's what happens right now because of our, negative samskaras. But all those will be slowly filled. All those, they are like ditches. All those ditches will be filled with positive spiritual samskaras. As you hear, these points will start coming to your, the top of your memory. Yeah. So our samskaras will change, and then they will slowly lead us to focus on, the holy name more. Samadhi will happen. Yeah. So right now, most people do anything seeking pleasure. It's called bhoga vritti. Bhoga vritti means the attitude to seek happiness. Everything we do, we seek happiness, right? So that will change to seva vritti, our core nature. Our core nature is what? As a soul. Yeah, when you serve somebody happy, you will become more happy. You already realize that. But because of the material covering, the conditionings within the material existence, we all developed bhoga vritti, the attitude to enjoy everything we do, right? So that will slowly transform over time as you chant to seva vritti. I want to serve. And through that, I become happy, right? So that's why you see all the spiritual organizations, at least, have one thing common. They all want to serve, right? Yeah. Yeah. So mind is like a monkey, right? We all have that experience. It keeps jumping from one thought to the other. It will never, we should always distinguish ourselves from our mind when we chant. right? When it gets distracted, you should instruct your mind. Okay. So here, there is a saying here, speak to the mind. Oh mind, you stupid monkey, why are you always jumping here and there to foolish ideas and suggestions? Pursuing these material thoughts will only bring you and me endless suffering. Look at the Lord's ultimate beauty, the perfect divine couple, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, radiating joy, compassion, and love. Yeah. So when we carelessly indulge the mind in thinking of sense gratificatory plans during chanting, then such japa revives the false ego and fills one with the I am the enjoyer spirit. So the point is we should not plan while chanting, right? Sometimes naturally mind starts planning the day activities or something or the other. So we should not plan. And that will increase enjoyer spirit. Yeah. So we should always remember Aham Brahmasmi. I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. And what is my constitutional position? I am connected to the Lord in service. Right? So I am Jivera Swarupahai Krishnera Nityadas. In our true constitutional state, we'll be engaged in the service of the Lord, absolute truth. So, so we should always remember these 2 points. I'm not this body, and I am actually connected to the absolute truth in service. So if you remember these 2 points, then um, then we'll always, chant effectively. Yeah, again, further description of how mind chatters us is given here. Yeah. When you chant, it is like cleaning the home, like we discussed, right? When you clean the home, what happens? Suppose your home is very, very dirty with all the dirt. What happens when you start? Huh? All the dust rises. Suppose your room is full of dust. Start cleaning, what happens? All the dust will rise and it can suffocate you. Sometimes it suffocates. So when you chant the holy name also, initially, it is possible that all your negative qualities, suppose you have greed, anger, envy, all these qualities, they all dominate your consciousness. Sometimes it happens. And you feel, hey, I'm chanting to become peaceful and happy. And why all these lust, greed are increasing in my heart? You feel like that. But understand that you're actually working on the medicine and it will eventually cure. Just like, last week I told the example of sugar candy. When a jaundiced person eats sugar candy, he will feel sweet or bitter. He will feel bitter. Even though candy is sweet, he will feel bitter. So initially, we may not have experienced the sweetness of the holy name. Holy name is all sweet, but we don't experience. But when we eat the same thing continuously, the same bitter uh, candy will become sweet, right? For many, many days you chant, you may not have any attraction. You feel like, am I really progressing? But we have to be patient, and eventually you will see the results, right? Hmm. Yeah, so petitioning the Lord with prayer is very beneficial at every stage of chanting. Oh Krishna, please help me. Oh Murali Manohar, Hari, please capture my mind, control it, and accept it in your service. So this is so we should chant with a prayerful mode. Never despair and do not be discouraged. The constant chanting of Krishna's holy name will very quickly burn up all desires, illusions, sinful thoughts, and memories from the mind. Yeah. To have mental concentration, one must be cheerful and peaceful. By cultivating friendship with equals, respect. So to have a peaceful life, our relations with others are very important, right? if you have negative relation with people around you, that always pains your heart. With peers, you should be very friendly. With your seniors, you should be very respectful. With your juniors or younger ones, you should be compassionate, right? So if we develop such attitude with everyone around you, you will become very cheerful and happy. So when we chant, there are two things. What is the conception and what is the consciousness with which we should chant? So the conception, see here it's mentioned, success in japa depends on conception and consciousness. One must hold the right conception or meaning of the mantra in the mind while chanting, and one's consciousness must be filled with surrender. The conception is, this is from Sikshastakam, verse 5. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavambudao kripaya tava pada pankaja stitadhuli sadrisham vichintaya. My dear Lord, I'm your eternal servant, but somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of material world. Kindly pick me up and fix me as a speck of dust at your lotus feet. Yeah, it's a prayer. This is the conception in which we should always chant the holy name. Yeah. So this is the consciousness, conception. The consciousness is na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmanishware bhavatad bhaktirahaitu ki tvayi. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotion service in my life, birth after birth. Basically, prioritizing holy name over everything else. Yeah. So then how to chant? We should not chant in the mind because mind distracts easily. We should chant in an audible way. We should chant and we should be able to hear also, right? That's how we should chant. And pronounce very clearly. Each syllable should be Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Should be able to hear every word of it. Yeah. And hear attentively. These three are important. Chant audibly, pronounce clearly, hear attentively. These are the three practical aspects. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, yeah, that is it. That's fine. Yeah. There are some apps also if you want to. Yeah. You can also try an app. Yeah. So you can read through all this. We're almost time. Avoid mechanical chant. That is very important. So generally when you do a thing repeatedly, right, like driving, you don't really consciously do effort. Eating, we just do it, right? So, but for this one aspect, make sure you are fully conscious. This is because when you're chanting, you are seeking the attention of the Lord. You don't want, suppose you are seeking the attention of Prime Minister, will you be casual, mechanical? No. So something like that. So you are seeking the attention of Lord. So you should be focused on the holy name. Yeah, firm determination to chant one's prescribed quota. And suppose you are chanting 4 rounds, every day you should chant 4 rounds. You should not reduce the, you should have the quota fixed. So people ask this question, can we think about Lord Krishna's pastimes when we chant, right? It is recommended not to do that. Ideally, you hear Bhagavatam, you hear, right? Already you know the pastimes. You don't like an effort, put an effort to remember. So that should happen naturally. As you progress spiritually, Nama will bring Katha. So it will, first it will bring Rupa, form of the Lord will appear in your heart. After that, the Leela also will appear. Leela means pastimes of the Lord. It should naturally happen. You should not artificially attempt to remember pastimes of the Lord. As you progress, it will automatically happen. As you, yeah. So we don't need to, we just focus right now on hearing the holy name. Right? Okay. Any questions online or offline? Hmm. Mhm. Mm. Time is energy of Lord, and how time expands, that is the, yeah. So initially you may feel, I don't have time for chanting. How can anybody chant like, 16 rounds? It will take 2 hours of my day and I don't have that much time. But as you chant daily, regularly, whatever, you have taken as determination, right? Like say chanting 4 rounds, Lord acts through your life, and you will feel yourself, desiring to chant more. Okay. And when after some time, somehow or other, you will be able to manage to chant all the rounds without disturbing your other things. In fact, other things will become more effective also, because there is that potency of the chanting that will percolate through other things. I definitely feel I work much less than my colleagues at office, and I do a lot of things. This class I do, and there is other class I do. Many other things I do, and touch wood, I am like top performer in the team. Krishna will take care, because you are doing your effort, right? Yeah. So you may not feel like that immediately. It will take time. It's not that I'm like this from beginning. It's almost like more than 15 years. So slowly you will see that, and everything else will work around to make sure you are doing this. It's like an energy surcharging on, protecting you all through your, journey from now onwards. Yeah. Because time is also an energy of the Lord, and time manipulates everything in this existence. Right? Everything is manipulated by time. The transformations in everything that are caused by time. Yeah. Hmm. Spiritual muscle means, right now the faith is low for us. We have some faith that we have to gain the knowledge of there is Supreme Lord. Still, we don't have 100% conviction. So that conviction will develop as you chant more and more. Right? So, and also you will see, you can clearly start seeing Krishna's hand in everything. That will happen, right? God's hand is already there, but it becomes much more clear for us. Then it reinforces your faith further. So many times when we face a situation in life, immediately we may feel, oh, why this happened to me? But if you're, carefully think through at a later point in time, actually you realize that is for your best interest. Many things. You will be surprised. One thing I'll tell you recently that happened when we wanted to arrange, Radheshyam Prabhu came and did one program, right? We tried to arrange in the same University Heights place. You all have come at least once there, right? That was, very old building, not even good to walk. It's not even easy to enter the building. We were thinking, how can we get a better place than this? And because we already have it, we thought we'll arrange Radheshyam Prabhu program also there. But they said, sorry, we cancel your, reservation. That day we can't get it. Then we scrambled and we were wondering where do we get now? We don't have many contacts in university, and somehow somebody through word of mouth it went, and some students who were studying here, they thought they can help, and they reserved a room. It worked out to be 10 times better, and the place was accommodative for a lot more people. Everything was so, and now the whole program is shifted here to the campus, right? It became so much of a better program, right? You can see. And if at that time we were worried, so why we only want to serve Krishna only, why he is not arranging a room here? But in the immediate, we felt this is not a good thing, but we can connect the dots now. It's all Krishna's plan that this program should expand. We have a better place, you see. So things will improve like that. So now we can feel it's Krishna's plan. Otherwise, every week we have room, only that week we don't have. So like that, you can see a lot of things, how Krishna will act as a cushion for your life. Yeah. Okay. So any other questions you have?
How do you feel the presence of uh how do you feel the presence or of a god like Krishna? Um, let's say not only just you, if you are in temple, maybe you are outside or somewhere else. How do you carry that? How do you since let's say for example, you can have all sorts of connection with the people around because you can see the response or you can see their feelings. Uh, but um, considering initially like Krishna is like a deity, right?
Mhm.
We cannot see the response. That's where people will expect, right? They always seek for the pleasure, but how can you get that pleasure all that time? Uh,
Yes. Well, there are two parts to your question. First, let me answer the first part. How can you see Krishna in everything and everywhere? Correct?
yeah,
Right?
yes.
So that comes with spiritual development, spiritual progress. Right now, you may not see, but when you realize, Krishna is there in every andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham. It means Krishna is there in every atom and in between atoms, right? So that is right now it's a theoretical statement. Even though I stated a verse, it's a theoretical statement for us. But when we chant, when we grow spiritually, it comes through just practice. Just like you said, right? We develop muscle, spiritual muscle. And when you develop, that becomes a truth for you. Now it is a theory, right? How means it's just we continue to practice and it becomes a realization. It cannot be like explained. It becomes a reality by one's own realization as you progress slowly. It is in the beginning, you may not experience. Our Krishna consciousness is just limited to ourselves and maybe the personality of deity in the temple, right? That's how it is. That's how it begins, but slowly it expands. The next step is to bring the Lord to your home. You will worship at your home, and your consciousness further expands. Then you start seeing God in every person. That is the next thing that happens, right? Right now, we don't immediately see God in your enemies, for example, right? That guy is bad. We say like that. Uh, but as you advance, first you start seeing there are three things, events, and people. A Pandita will start seeing God in all these things. Right now, we may not be, but as you grow, you would. This is a little deeper subject. This is covered in Bhagavad Gita. Uh, to things, events, and people. Three things, right? It's a gradual process. Things means um, we see a plant. We don't feel there is God in it right now, but eventually we get to that consciousness. We see people. We don't feel God presence in them right now.
Hmm.
But at some point you will understand. For example, Jesus, even when he was crucified, he would say, he would pray to the Lord, because by crucifying Jesus, they're going to get very bad negative reactions in their future life. So he would pray to the Lord, Lord, do not punish these sinful people. They do not know what they're doing. He was praying for the people who were punishing them. See, he would not even mind the suffering he's getting through. Same thing was done by Haridas Thakur. He was being punished in 21 marketplaces. People are whipping him. Why? He's a Muslim, born Muslim, but he would chant holy name every single day. And the kingdom is ruled by a Muslim, and all the people are Muslims mostly. So they would harass him all the way. He would be beaten in 21 marketplaces. And at the time, instead of getting, everybody would feel insulted, or, go through a lot of pain and would cry for their own pain. But this personality, Haridas Thakur, would pray to the Lord, please, do not impose any sinful reactions on these people who are punishing. They don't know. They're just acting on the order of the law, the king here. He is worried about them. Imagine the compassion in the heart. See how much he is able to see the soul in the body of other, even punishers. So that's the level of consciousness. You can imagine, right? We are not there. Right? Yeah. So we want to, and what is the method? How did he get there? Only one thing, chanting the holy name. So that is how much chanting can give us or take us to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
we will
and
get
for
there. We
yeah,
need
yeah,
patience and faith in the holy name and continue to practice.
okay, okay. And one more thing is like, why only Hare Krishna, for example, for uh, uh, who is the king that you told, Dhruva,
Hmm.
Dhruva, right? Dhruva,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
yeah. He chanted Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We also can chant only that one. I'm asking like, why can't we chant that only like 16 rounds instead of Hare Krishna? For example.
Suppose you have 107 degrees of fever. Will you need a
Okay.
high dose or small dose of medicine?
Yeah.
Dose. So that's why Hare Krishna Mahamantra is called high dose medicine, right? It's a very powerful high dose. It's Mahamantra, king of all mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva is also a great holy name, and it was chanted in the previous years. It was given by the Guru there that time, right? Narada Muni gave that mantra to Dhruva. It was proper. It was effective, but that was effective because the Guru gave that name, and that was the mantra for that is. But for our is,
Mm-hmm.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended the chanting of the holy name Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this is the right dose for us, because Kali Yuga is like very, very degraded. People go through suffering every single day. They need a high dose of medicine. So that is available in this, yeah, like, uh, yeah, 1000 mg.
Okay. And how this mantra came from? Like, is it from Bhagavad Gita or is it from some other text?
Yeah,
Uh,
the Kali Santarana Upanishad, it's an Upanishad. It's given in Upanishad.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was there in the notebook I shared last week.
Oh.
So these
Mm.
16 syllables are the most effective medicine for the Kali Yuga.
Okay, got it. Is this mantra is recommended by someone in the God like I don't know, maybe for example Narada Muni says like Namo Narayanaya is the great mantra that you had, like that someone from anyone referred to this mantra.
Yeah,
uh,
that's what.
God.
Yeah. So the mantra is a conversation between Lord Brahma and Narada.
Oh, okay.
In that conversation, Lord Brahma says, "Who is Lord Brahma?
He
Huh?
is
He is the creator, but he is
creator.
also the Yes, but he is also our Param Guru, by the way. Our Sampradaya's Param Guru is Brahma. That's why we fall in a Sampradaya. The Sampradaya's name is Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. There are three great teachers in this whole line. The first is Brahma, second is Madhva, Madhvacharya. He is a saint of 11th century. Gaudiya, third one is Gaudiya. Gaudiya, who is the third saint? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are all the greatest teachers in our line. So whatever we are doing is what the creator of this universe is giving. So nothing less.
But
Yeah.
and also Brahma called as uh he he's the son of Shiva. I
No, no.
don't-
Lord
mm,
Shiva comes from Lord Brahma.
okay.
So Brahma is directly born of Garbhodak Sai Vishnu. He
Oh, okay.
Swayambhu. He's a Swayambhu. He's the first person created. And he takes charge of rest of the creation.
Okay. And is there anything? Is there any reason only 16 rounds? Like, uh,
Any reason for 16 rounds?
uh, yeah. I mean, is there any significance that number is should be 16? Like how it is fixed? Yeah, I don't know the reason behind. Yeah, just wanted.
Ideal is 64 rounds. 64
Oh,
rounds is the recommended, but Srila Prabhupada reduced that because based on acharyas can reduce based on the time, place, circumstance. If we are asked to chant 64 rounds, it will take around 6 to 7 hours every day.
that
And
means we are chanting whole day when we are awake.
exactly.
Okay.
Ideally, I mean, there is nothing else for, frankly speaking, there is nothing else to achieve in human life beyond this. So
Yeah.
that's the, most important thing. But the same result can be achieved because when an acharya says, Lord would obey that. Lord would never supersede an acharya's words. Because Prabhupada had reduced, that became, the minimum standard for us. It doesn't mean we need to only chant at 16. We can always chant more. That is okay. But at least recommended is 16. But again, if you are not chanting 16, that is fine. Whatever you're chanting right now, continue for a few months and then increase further. Hmm?
Got it. And how do you have a checkpoint that whether you are not mechanical and
How
you
you
are focused? Yeah, because let's say you are chanting, you never know, and also maybe you are in the temple or outside of temple, maybe thinking sometime about the Krishna, but unknowingly maybe you are diverted to something else. But
the full
to make sure,
consciousness will take time. It takes years, I would say.
okay,
Even what I do is I chant 100% focused few rounds. Initially I used to chant only one round focused. Second round I would be somewhat relaxed because that is if we try to impose ourselves too much, we'll be like feel always discouraged that I'm
okay,
not getting there. So try to start with what is possible in your hand, right? Like say one round focused. Slowly increase after say 6 months, you can increase to focus 2 rounds, but you chant 4 rounds, but 2 rounds you would be like 100% try to focus, right? So slowly increase that minimum, right? You cannot get a hold of 16 rounds with full focus. It's impossible right now to start.
okay,
It's
yeah,
just practical tip.
okay,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. Any other question here? Good. Yeah. So we'll end the call here. Thank you. So today strength is low. They all told us that they're going around. Hopefully next week people should be back. Okay, Prabhu, I'll end the call. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.